Our bodies contain these incredible systems of energy within through various meridians in the body and also through energy centers. And the main energy centers that I work with are the 7 chakras. So I'm going to be going through each of the body's main 7 energy centers, referring to the disease that is Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. So I'm going to start with the first energy center, which is the root chakra. This is located at the base of the spine. Each of the 7 energy centers contain a different color of the full spectrum of light, so the 7 colors of the rainbow. So they go from red all the way to purple. So the root chakra's dominant color is red. This energy center is what energetically connects us to the earth, our earthly bodies to the earth. And it is responsible for our feeling of groundedness, of safety, of stability, of security, of trust. And so working with this energy center as somebody with PCOS will really help to regain trust in the body, because of course when we have a big diagnosis, it can be really, really easy to feel that disconnection between you and your body and feel like you don't have that control and you don't have that trust or that connection with your body. I know for me personally, I almost felt like I was kind of imprisoned by my body, like I didn't actually have any control over what this disease was able to do to me until I learned these energetics. And I remembered that absolutely this body of mine is my home and it is always taking care of me. It's always healing me. It's always working incredibly hard to keep me alive and well and experiencing this human life in the physical. So working with the root chakra can really, really help to bring us back to this knowing, bring us back to the home within our body, because that really truly is the foundation for all healing. We have to trust our bodies if we want to work with our bodies effectively. And of course, this also goes for anybody that's suffering with things like PTSD, anybody that's had a lot of trauma that's made them feel very unsafe. Again, this is something that was deeply rooted within my body, to the point where I was actually suppressing my feminine energy so much because I felt unsafe to be a woman in this world because of trauma I've experienced. And so working on that safety as the foundation truly was fundamental in the rest of my healing journey, because it allowed me to be able to heal from trauma from a place of safety within my body, as opposed to potentially re-traumatizing myself through the healing journey. If we can come from a place of safety first and trust first, then we create this foundation where we can receive more information from our bodies. And it's a lot less daunting when we can be held by the energetics of the earth through our root chakra. And many women, I would say the majority of women actually experiencing reproductive issues do have a history of trauma. And of course, this doesn't even need to be in this lifetime. This can be something that's passed on through generations, unfortunately. And that's why we see things like PCOS being branded as hereditary and passed down from mothers to daughters, etc. And this could well be that this feeling of unsafety, that it's unsafe to be a woman in the world, the energetics of that belief alone can be passed through as hereditary. So I think it's important to actually understand that there's a lot of layers to hereditary, and it doesn't just mean, oh, it's unluckily passed on. It's like something's passed on. So understanding what that something is can actually offer major healing results, because of course genes can be turned on and off depending on the environment. And even somebody that's been passed something through their DNA, if the root cause of that is established, then the healing can happen too. So working with the root is honestly one of the biggest things that we can do in any healing journey, but especially with regards to reproductive health, and even more so when there's a history of trauma. And then there's moving on to the sacral chakra, which is actually the womb space for women. And the dominant color for this center is orange. This is our center for creativity, for passion, for pleasure. Of course, this is where we create life, but it's also where we create everything from. This is our center for creation in everything that we do, everything that we birth into the world, whether that's through our creative projects, our gifts, our businesses, whatever it is that we're actually putting out into the world. All of this is being created by this natural creative energy that flows within us. But of course, somebody with PCOS, this energy center can be very blocked, can have a lot of stagnations in there. And so when fertility or any kind of hormonal imbalance is present, and we can see it as literally there is a block in the flow, in the cycle, in the menstrual cycle, because of course this energy center is represented by the element water. And when we look at this part of our body, whether it's the different fluids through our menstrual cycle or the amniotic fluid when we're growing a baby in our womb, and then we look at creation and the creative juices flow and the creative energy flows. And so all of this should be in a really nice flow. And when we've got these imbalances, it's often because there's something blocking the way, whether that is some trauma, or it could be a physical thing, it could be an energetic thing. But working with the energetics of this is a way of really truly reharmonizing this part of the body and bringing back that flow. And so tuning into the element water and really working with that and what that means to you. Working with the moon, which also governs water. You know, it creates the pull of the tides, and of course the water's within us. And that's why women have such a big connection and fascination to the moon, because the moon even shares the same length cycles as us. So tuning into water, tuning into the moon, tuning into her cycle. If you are somebody that maybe has an irregular cycle or no cycle, or you're wanting to improve your fertility, working with the sacral chakra is so powerful when it comes to anything womb related, womb healing, ovaries, anything within that area, even just anything hormonal with women. It's truly the energy center of creation, of feminine power. Then we move on to the solar plexus chakra. This is our center for personal power and confidence, and it's represented by the fire element, the sun, that sunshiny joy and abundance energy, and that kind of fire within that drives us forward, that gives us that willpower, which is so important on our healing journeys, because times can get really tough and things can be really disheartening along the way, because of course some healing journeys are really long, and some days we need to be able to tune into that fire within and remember, you know, how powerful we truly are. And it is remembering that power, which kind of goes against a lot of what we've been taught with regards to who we are and our bodies and what we're capable of and our incredible abilities. This isn't stuff that's commonly taught to us, unfortunately. So it's often a quest that we must go on by ourselves to really truly discover how powerful we are. And so tuning into this with the color yellow, tuning into the sun, that life force energy. And so being empowered on this healing journey is so important, and really tuning into the solar plexus chakra is so helpful on a journey of healing hormones, of healing PCOS, remembering that power within and taking it back from the diagnosis, from the limitations that the doctors potentially put on you, from wherever it has been temporarily given away to, taking it back from there and holding it and carrying it with you throughout your healing journey, remembering how powerful you are. Then we move into the heart, which is our strongest energy center. It is the greatest power of humanity, is that heart power. And it is through this heart power that the healing magic truly happens. And that is through the power of love, because the power of love is the greatest healer. Truly it is. And it is what can aid us in healing these lower energy centers, healing any of those stagnations and blockages and any pain, whether physical or emotional or energetic, any traumas from the past. The power of our own hearts, of our own self-love, and I mean real self-love. I mean the type of self-love that can look back at past versions of you, even when maybe you weren't living your best, and have nothing but compassion for those versions of you. That kind of self-love, that is the kind of self-love that can free us from whatever happened in our past. If what's been making us sick in our present has come from our past, then tuning into that heart power is the way. This is represented by the color green, and it is the element air, which is easy to remember because of course it's where we fill our lungs with air. It's where our life force energy comes into our body. It's what keeps us going. It's what keeps our heart beating. And so tuning into this energy center and working with this energy center truly is the most empowering thing that we can do. And there's no healing journey that's going to work without it, without love for ourselves, without love for our bodies. Because it's with that love and with that intention that is where our healing power comes from. And then moving into our throat, our center for expression. This is represented by the color blue. And actually the throat chakra and the sacral chakra are very much linked. It's very interesting when we look at the anatomy even. There's a lot of similarities in the anatomy within the pelvis and within the throat. And the two are very much linked because, of course, when we have a lot of stagnations in our creative energy, oftentimes we can have blockages in our throat energy too, which prevents us from standing up for ourselves, prevents us from speaking our truth, speaking kindly of ourselves, advocating for ourselves, maybe in a health setting, being brave with our voice and not just people pleasing. Because of course women have a major problem with this, and this probably goes back for centuries, so that we don't get killed in some way, having to people please to keep safe. And these kind of tendencies tend to live within our bodies, creating blockages where we're having trouble expressing. But of course, if we're having trouble expressing, then there's a stagnation. So being able to speak your truth, being able to speak your healing story into manifestation, checking in with your inner dialogue. How are you speaking about your body? How are you speaking about yourself? What kind of limitations are you amplifying with the energy of your voice? Where are you people pleasing? Where are you using your voice to go against your body? When your body says no and you're actually saying, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Looking at all of these ways where you're kind of squishing your power through the use of your voice and holding it in through fear of judgment, through fear of not being liked, whatever it is. Our voice is so powerful. Truly, the alchemy that we can create through the sound of our voice, through the frequency of our voice, is immense. And so when we actually learn how to use it and not suppress it, this creates a whole new level of empowerment in our lives. And then we move to our third eye chakra, which is represented by the color indigo or dark blue. And this is our vision beyond. This is so important on a healing journey for PCOS because it allows us to really hold a vision of that healed version of us that exists. Because that version of us does exist. That version of us is actually our natural state, and we just need to come home to that version of us. That version who is balanced and well and flowing freely. And so being able to see beyond the limitations of this is a lifelong illness that you're probably not going to heal from, or seeing beyond only being offered birth control or only, being given these limiting treatment methods that maybe don't feel right to you. It's also having that gift of discernment, being able to discern what is right and what's wrong for you on your journey, because that can't come from somebody else. We can be given guidance and information, but ultimately the choice must be ours. So being able to have that strong intuitive connection allows us to have that discernment. And honestly, that's the safest way of being, because we're able to consult with ourselves and see beyond the potential illusion, see beyond somebody else's story, somebody else's limitations, and actually tune into our own truth and who we are and what we want. And so being able to hold that vision, even when things are really scary and you're told, oh, well, if you don't do this way, then you'll end up getting cancer. Like, I've been told a lot of these horror stories by medical professionals who wanted me to go one way, but a way that didn't feel right to me. I was given a lot of fear to consider. And so I really had to see through it all. I had to see what was my goal. What was I going to get out of it? And through holding on to that vision and through doing things like writing out my healing story, so that even on the bad days when things were a bit clouded, I was able to go back to that and tune into that version and see that version that was awaiting me ahead, that healed version. So tuning into this energy center, our third eye chakra, as the guiding light on our journey. And then lastly, we've got the crown chakra, which is the color purple or white, or both. This is our connection, our channel to source, to the universe, to our higher self, to God. And of course, the best healing information comes from those places. So having that channel cleared all the way up from the root chakra all the way up to the crown means that our channel is open to this benevolent guidance, to our higher self that knows what's best for us, that wants what's best for us, to God or the universe that is rooting for us and conspiring in our favor and wanting us to see the signs and receive the messages. So being able to work with this energy center and have this channel clear, that means we're always open to really good healing information. Some of the most profound healing experiences I've had have come through straight downloads, not actually learning the information from somewhere, but receiving the information. And this is how cool it is. This is how magical things can happen when we have this channel clear and our energy is moving as it should, because our energy should always be able to move. And so being in a healing journey like PCOS, this is true empowerment, having energetic empowerment, being able to work with all of these energy centers, and some more so than others, depending on what is individually living in your body, where the disease is in your body, where the energetic blocks and stagnations are in your body. Being able to understand this and work with these areas directly on a root cause level, working with the root, not just the surface level symptoms. This is the key to long-term healing and reversal of diseases. Our bodies are so intelligent. We're so equipped for healing. Healing is literally our natural state. We just need to come home to that truth of what our bodies are truly capable of.